What's up, Winject World? It's your two favorite bald guys here, Adam Schaeuble, Chris Ross in the house. Money Monday. It's my favorite. Any day that starts with money, I feel like that's a good day, right, Chris Ross?
That's right. Every day should begin and end with money. Any day that ends in Y. I mean, or you just have a hobby. We don't want a hobby. That's the whole point about Winject Studios and why we're taking the educational approach and apply it to podcasting, because we don't like the statistic that you gave me 3 weeks ago about people not making any coin or any revenue or for their time well served and delivering their message. So any that ends in Y, move. Let's get it. So happy Money Monday, everybody.
80% of podcasters make $0. I feel like we need to make some sort of gear that just says 80 on it, or something like the bullseye 80%, because we are going to eradicate that statistic from podcasting. And it is in fact Money Monday. We got some questions that we're going to cover. We had some people dial in on our very brand new community hotline. You see it flashing across the bottom there. It's 843-396-2104. You can text us your podcasting questions. If you text us with the word tips, I'll send you a podcasting tip every single week on your mobile device. But we got some questions that we're going to tackle here on Money Monday. Let's see here. Let's start off with Nina's question. Nina Perez. Shout out to Nina.
What's up, Nina?
So here's her question. I'll read it specifically. Exactly. How do you use affiliate links if someone sends you their info for their affiliate link? So I think she wants to know, like, if she's promoting someone else's stuff. Let's just cover affiliates in general. I feel like there's a lot of different ways that we can go. So where do you want to start on this one, Chris?
I guess it starts with the approach. So if you are a podcaster and you're doing a lot of like guest interviews, I like to do it. I'm not saying everyone needs to do this, but this is how I go about like my show. Like when I interview a guest and you came on, I would do an intro afterwards talking about how great the episode was and talking about some specifics. Then the beginning of the show, I talk about, hey, if you're looking for more access to XYZ, like, hey, you can just do a promotion. Just a small promotion. Be like, hey guys, I'm part of Winject Studios. As we all know, the show is presented by Winject Studios. Winject Studios is not a network. It's a community where podcasters come to focus on community collaboration to make a collective impact in the world. And one of the main reasons why we're here, and I have different links, I have access to Winject Studios verified resources and business resources on the back end to really help all of our listeners and all of the people tuning into this great show. So if you want to find out more information, XYZ, boop, and drop it and then move. That's one way of presetting it. Then you go, when you put it into your show notes, hey, I mentioned XYZ or I mentioned these services. If you get really good at it, and that's why inside of our system that Adam hasn't done just yet, but we're in the process of putting all the different links and obviously the where you just click copy and paste. So that way it has your own verified code on the back end of it to ensure you're going to get counted for those types of commissions and bringing people to those services. We'll have a list, and maybe when you're having a guest interview and something comes up, you can go, hey, I have access. Do you know who this person is, this service is? If you're looking for these type of services, I'm going to put it in the show notes. That's one quick way of doing it. So that's I guess the initial approach. Anything you want to add to that piece that can go into a little bit more of a like ballpark view?
Well, affiliate links are where a lot of newer podcasts start to initially make their first few bucks.
Sure.
Like that's like when I first, and you can kind of get lost in it, but like if it makes sense, like if I interviewed for my health show a woman that was one of the scientists from Four Sigmatic, and Four Sigmatic, they make this mushroom coffee stuff, and they're like, hey, let's set you up for an affiliate, and that way if anybody buys any of our stuff when we talk about it on your show, you get a commission. I'm like, cool, that makes sense. And you can use the same formula that Chris just gave you, where you kind of shout it out at some point in the show, have it connected on the show notes, and then also a lot of people will have. They have like a link tree or something where they can host it maybe on their websites, like friends of the program, recommended resources, and all the stuff is there. So that's kind of the basic big picture overview.
I like that
with the affiliates.
All right. I like that a lot because you're not just trying to promote one service. You can just do it as hey, just a quick reminder before we start today's show. I do have a link to click on in the show notes that has all our verified resources. And yes, I am an affiliate because it's part of Winject Studios as a whole, as a company, and as a community. So if anybody needs these services, or you know someone that is in desperate need of them, and they're there, you're, obviously your disposal.
And honestly, the strategy that I would use, if you have more than one affiliate that you're pushing out there, like within Winject, we're going to have several different things. Right. What I would personally recommend, if you've got the website skills to pay the bills here, I would set up a resource hub and talk about the feature thing, but then send them to yourwebsite.com/resources. And then that's the link inside of your show notes as well, because they get on there and they see the whole menu, because maybe they don't just want that one thing, they want this other thing too. And that way they see all of it and not just that one thing. They see the menu, and I think you'll end up with more sales out of that.
Right. And it does take out the component of people not trying to sell on their show. I mean, because I know how it is when I speak to a lot of podcasters, and that's one of the things that I kind of put into consideration when I was starting to like reach out and doing, I don't like to use the word white label. It's not really a white label. You're using these services because they're attached to the community as a whole. That's what the whole idea behind us trying to apply the educational approach to this business model, because they're, they're set up and very similar to the music industry, where the artist doesn't make any money off of whatever they're doing. That's not the whole approach. So I see the podcasting networks right now that they're doing is they're having a show on their network and tapping them into their resources, but the only person who's actually benefiting is the network. Well, that we're taking the industry and we're going to try to flip it on its head to where we're serving the podcaster centric. And that's important for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And to kind of paint a picture for you too, Nina, and everybody else that's listening, this isn't just for Nina, but I'm sure there are other people that are out there listening. So like when we bring in a new verified influencer and they've got some new program or whatever that we can promote, I want to do some education around that, where like I'll do a special call, like, all right, here's what it's all about. Here are the key talking points. Here's what we should be mentioning. Like, it's not just gonna be like, get your link and start talking about it. Like, I want you to be efficient. I'm really hoping that if not all these partners, many of them will be willing to do like a free webinar that we can push people to. And then that way it's not like, it's like, just get people to our free webinar. They're connected through your link. You're good. You're attached to them. Any sales that come out of that, your commission's coming through. So that's something like, so we're not going to like offer puke on you guys. It's going to be like, all right, here's the real big focus point. Here's our menu. Here's the focus point right now. Here's where we're the program, product, service that we're really focusing on launching right now. And then we go to the next one, or whatever makes sense for you. But there's going to be education around that. And that way you can really make the most of your energy and efforts. And that way you can kind of see, I would love to have some sort of a calendar also of like, here's what's coming next. Here's what's coming next. And that way you guys can map out, like, I know some of you record content a month in advance or 2 months in advance. And that way you can get that plugged in if you want to promote it or have your resources link or whatever ready to go. So there will be lots of planning around this is what I'm trying to say.
Right. And that's the whole idea behind the branded 2-minute commercial. And, hey, Nina, that's the whole idea behind those commercials, of running those on Winject Studios, or Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. When you have your own time slot where you're coming on to promote your show and getting more eyeballs or more earbuds on your content and obviously your show, that's something that where you can drive them towards. And it's done by the commercials, and it's done by Carolyn and our beautiful Carolyn, that ones that pushes all the buttons. Don't hit anything yet, Carolyn, but hits one of the buttons for the commercials and it pops up. And that's where all of our verified business resources on the back end, the ones we structured in helping out our community, they will be doing those type of testimonials and those type of information, I guess, commercials for people and driving them and bridging that gap. Because you can't just say, hey, Adam, go here and request information. You got to bridge that gap. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, Chris, with like, you've given me a sneak peek of who we're bringing in. I'm really excited about it. I honestly think like people could go next level with this. And like, I could see our members creating a product or a service where all they do is it's almost like a concierge into our options that we have with our affiliates,
right?
Where they're like, you're going to pay, like, let's say Nina does this and she's like, all right, if you're an entrepreneur, then I've got Nina's blah, blah, blah entrepreneur school that you're going to pay me whatever per month. And I'm going to teach you how to use these other resources. And I'm going to direct you into there. And like, you're making money at both ends. And that's the way that it should be. And the cool thing about affiliates is that if I sell a course and Chris is an affiliate and he refers somebody, he's just sharing that link. I'm making the sale. I'm doing all the fulfillment. I'm all the product delivery. Now, that's good and bad, because it's good if they do a good job and they take care of your people. It's bad if they don't. And that's why we're verifying all these people. And it's not just like any, Joe Schmo podcaster can get in and sell a thing. Like, we want to make sure that they are legit, good to go, verified on what they're actually delivering. And that's really where Chris has put in a ton of work.
And I appreciate you saying that, because it is a ton of work, because I'm leveraging my resources and my connections. So I'm not saying I'm going on the line and putting myself on the line. What I'm trying to do is I'm saying, hey, I've already vetted these companies. That's my skill set. We're a one-stop shop of an educational hub. That's what we do. We're here to change lives as a mission. So the only way we can go about doing that is ensuring we have the proper resources on the back end to really support us. As a Winject Studios, yes, we're going to be a broadcasting and media production company. It doesn't just specifically as in goes towards podcasting. That's the first leg right now. It's the first phase. It's going to apply to podcasting. That's where a lot of people are living, but a lot of people aren't making money. So why don't I go after the first shiny object and go after the first bottleneck that I see, hit podcasting, then I'm moving over, branching over, bridging that gap to music, bridging that gap over to TV. And that's what we're here to do, is turn people into not just a content creator, a powerhouse when it comes to media and curating your content the best way you know how to drive more business to you. And yes, it is all about leveraging. If you want to get to the top 1% into 1%, it is all about leveraging. It's not you doing and creating yourself. It's who do you know and who can you leverage. The other schools and the other things that we're putting on the back end of this, I can easily create another program and sell it to a trade school. I've already ticked that box and crossed that off my I guess you would say my journey. Adam is like, all right, I'm going to build my own program and sell it to a multi-million-dollar deal. Well, I don't want to do that anymore. I've already done that. I feel like I'm going back in time. Well, let's shine a light on some people who are doing it right now that are still hungry in that game, and they're going to over-deliver because of my relationship and our relationship with them.
Yep. Yeah, it's a symbiotic relationship. A good example, like for those of you that are out there thinking like obviously we're bringing a lot of people to the table. We'll just use like a more broad brush example of like, let's say that you use a certain program, product, or service a lot with whatever it is that you do. So for me, I help a lot of podcasters build their web platform out, or like, their lead magnets, their courses, stuff like that. And I use the Kajabi platform. They've got a referral link that I have connected. That's my affiliate link, and I share it out. And then I get a kickback every single month from those referrals that I'm having. And, now I'll bring in about $6,000 or $7,000 a year just from my Kajabi link that I've done work with. And that's awesome. That's like, they do all the fulfillment. I'm just connecting people to that service. So think about like, is there a software? Is there a product? Is there a program that you use a lot that you might as well be making money off that referral if you're referring people to? So think along those terms, and we won't steer you wrong.
I'm going to touch on one thing you just said. It's all about mindset also on top of that, and approaching somebody you use and you actually help out in driving business too. I mean, a lot of people, they're not going to approach one of those companies and say, hey, I would love to promote some of the products, and I use them right now for my own podcasting show. And I would love to. I mean, do you have some type of referral program or an affiliate program where it will compensate me and also help me with my outreach and just trying to provide a service for people? Ding, ding, ding. Every company, I'm telling you right now, every company in the world will say yes. Yes. They're always looking for ways of decreasing their marketing budget of the year. Always looking for a way. That's a free customer for them. And it's done through a testimonial, and it's done through a satisfied customer. That's what it's all about. And that's the leverage piece. On the back end of this, look at this in a bigger picture also. When you have these services, we're not just, of course, this is a home for podcasters that come to focus on community, collaboration, and make a collective impact. We're all opening up, and I do have a lot of services on the back end of this, production services. We have show notes, links, websites. You have all transcribing them. It doesn't really matter. We're also providing for if someone's out there and you are a podcaster within our community and you have someone out there that wants to start a show, guess what? We have those too. We have covered every direction known to man of that in one angle into media. I mean, there's some entrepreneurs that I know, personal friends, that are in that 7-figure type of income. And they've never thought about podcasting because they figured it's too much time. And I was one of those for a long time. I mean, Carolyn's ears going to burn right now because I've been asked for years to do podcasting up until I saw that it was a need for my businesses and pre-COVID. And how do I train 13,000 people indirectly? Well, podcast is a way of doing it. Then I was left after I did that deal. I was left with a podcast show, a dope ass show. I was like, what do I do now? Well, let's move on. I kept that's the whole idea behind what we're trying to do in the culture we're trying to develop from the foundational level. Everyone's going to win. Everyone's going to eat. Everyone's going to do what? Win. We got to win. If you're not winning your day, you're losing. And the only way you lose is if you're not adopting the proper principles for you to condition your mindset. And then you look at every opportunity as an opportunity. Even when you lose or you have a setback, that's a opportunity for you to learn a different way of going about doing business. So there's 7-figure earners and these multiple business owners that I do know that I'm starting to tap into them and say, hey, would you like to start your own show? I can provide those types of services for you on the back end of this for us to stay focused on outreach and really creating that type of culture within our community where everyone's going to eat and everyone's open to share. Everyone's open to share. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, sir. One final point to kind of tie this one up before we go to Orr's question. If you're working with us, anybody that we're bringing to you, we're going to make sure that your commission is maximized. Now,
Right.
If you're going to some other service or like you've got a product that you want to refer to that you do a lot of business with, don't go through just their website and sign up for their regular affiliate. Contact them and go, I'm a podcaster. I would like to promote you through my podcast. And I guarantee you they'll give you a higher percentage commission. Like they'll be like 5% or 4% or whatever. And I bet you almost get double that by saying that you are a podcaster. Just using that and any chance that you get, like all these things behind me, I get for free from Mixed Tiles because I'm a podcaster. And like, oh, how about we give you 50 free tiles? Okay, awesome. Thank you. My $5,000 infrared sauna, free because I'm a podcaster. They go, hey, will you do a live cast on Instagram once a week from my sauna? Sure. They sent me this sauna. So like dropping the podcaster card as often as possible will get you more stuff. So that's a good place to tie that one up. Let's talk Orrist. Do you want to take a stab at Orrist's last name? No, Orrist the old guy. Orrist the old guy. He's got a harder to pronounce last name than I do. That's saying something. So Orrist wants to know about this platform that we're on right now, Chris, Streamyard. How should we be using, or who should be using Streamyard if they are a podcaster? How do we take advantage of this? What are all the bells and whistles? Why is it the place to be? Why are we using it?
Right. I was on the Brian Covey show. And when I went on his show, he was like, all right, man, have you been on a StreamYard before? And I was like, no. I was like of a StreamYard version, I guess you would say, my first time. So he was like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this button. We're about to go live, and I'll hit this button. It's going to play some music, put us on mute, and then we'll go into the show. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So he did it, and I was pretty amazed. I was blown away. This is back in September last year-ish or so. And he hit the button. I felt like I was on a game show. I was like, wow. What a way of increasing your, the person, your guests, and then also your listeners' experience of tuning in, and it makes it feel like you're on a TV show. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. So that was the first step. And I remember, actually, if you go back and listen to the show where I was a guest on, Brian Covey, love you, man. But when that was like, yo, I got to step my game up. When I don't say things like that by accident, I'm like, okay, all right, level up, time to level up. So I was recording off of Zoom. This is back in the time where Zoom like really slowed down. Obviously you would just say it was HD, but it wasn't HD. It was like, it was really awful. I was like, well, how can I assist my staff on editing and getting, social media clips, the clarity of it. So I was recording off my computer and Zoom at the same time just to get the clarity of the footage. That just obviously doesn't help, right? I mean, it causes more content time or more time served for my editing team to chop it up and do different things. So okay, well, StreamYard has a setting where you can do these. You see all these beautiful setups. Well, David, Carolyn's brother, does all that stuff for us, and he puts it all together. So when we're on here, it's recorded, but you can do a little edits. There's so many different ways you can do it. You can get recording off of audio and video, make it easier. And it's set up to where you don't need to put it into a themes. And then when you want to broadcast it on YouTube or broadcast it on something like that, you obviously can do that. That's one of the things we're going to do also with the back end of the win-win effect is obviously my show. What I've been showing people, my show goes live on Tuesday mornings at 3 a.m. Eastern time. It used to go live on Monday mornings at 3 a.m. Eastern time. I changed it to Tuesday because I obviously do Mondays. So I changed it to Tuesdays. But then when I launch it, that's for people that like audio. They want to consume the content by audio. Then I set the feature, like a featured video on Winject Studios and say, hey guys, I know that this is the audio content, but this will be featured at 2 p.m. Eastern on our Winject Studios page. And if people like that, they'll go there and they'll download it or watch the video, however they like to consume the content. It just gives you a lift. It gives you a different way of being able to deliver the content on how people want to consume it. So I love StreamYard. It's pretty cool. Plus you can go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube at the same time. It's just so many different ways you can actually utilize this platform.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Oris goes live. Like if you go live, this is the place to be. Like if your podcast is also a live cast, this is 100% the place that you want to be just because of the production value. Like you see the screen and you've got the intro, the music, the little scroll bar across the bottom, like all those features are awesome. And if you want more of an interactive experience, the comments are popping up. I was on a show called Content is Profit with the Biz Bros down in Florida, and they've got a sweet setup and it looks really nice. And but they are, I would say they're equal part live casters and podcasters. It's almost more of a live show, and they take the audio and put it out as a podcast as like a second thought. So if you're like equal in those things, or if you're a little bit even more live cast is more important than podcast, then this is like Zoom is like the dark ages compared to this. And you can do so many more things. Well,
another point too. You mentioned the people. I had a friend of mine that utilized his YouTube channel. He got over like a couple million things, got the plaques and all that stuff. He was like, well, I took that content to the audio content, made it into obviously a podcast, and took that content and turned that into repurposing, and then turned that into a blog post, turned that into a couple promotions and campaigns for himself to drive more business to the end result of him gaining more customers and more clients for his business. And then they're resharing it, and he built in a referral program of people resharing his content. If you look at it, any way you look at it, you have to think outside the box. How can I record content and then take that content and distribute it in 5 or 7 different ways? And it's easily done if you know what they're doing. And that's, obviously when I reached out to you, when I went on your show, like people are calling themselves coaches, but they're recording their content, but they don't know how to distribute their content in the right way and utilize it and leverage. You need to leverage your content. You just can't record on a video and don't do any edits and then try to launch it as a podcast and then a video. It's the way that you're perceived. If you don't pass that first initial test of this person's legit, then they're not going to come back to your store. They're going to go listen to another podcaster. But just the way that you look and the way that you're coming across to your marketplace, you're holding yourself to a higher standard. And that's what StreamYard can do for you.
It makes you just feel fancy.
Yeah, feel fancy. You get the music and you get.
I like to dance every time Carlum hits the music. I like to dance a little bit. I got my swivel chair going for my Cuban hips. That works good. Now, you touched on something there about leveraging content, and we got a little bit of bonus time, so we might as well use it well. I feel like one of the biggest combined mistakes that almost every podcaster that's not making any money is doing is they aren't leveraging their content, but they also aren't leveraging their connections that they're making when they are talking to these people. All they do is they just interview, and they just produce that episode after episode, and they're like hustling, and they're putting out a lot of episodes, but then they're not breaking that content up like Chris suggested. But then they're also not doing any sort of connection follow-up with those people. Those people could be affiliate partners. They could be program launch partners. They could be clients. They could be people that are referring you business. Like, I get referred business all the time by previous guests just because I follow up and I connect, and I am like, how can we invite them to connect to the next thing? And like, there needs to be time spent nurturing both your content and also the connections from the people that are helping you produce that content. And so if you feel like you're somebody that's just going, machine gun style interview, and that's all like you feel like you're doing, that's probably your first mistake. Right.
And I love that you just said that. And that's why we're going to open up the live Q&As and giving everybody a time slot. I mean, if your first couple ones are just talking about your show and talking about some of the guests and then going into detail about these guests, right? So, hey, for episode 68, 69, 70, 71, these are the guests, and just go over a brief overview and just promote your show. Promote that one specific episode, and you can retarget your approach. There actually is a retargeting campaign within the Women of Fitness. How I was able to resurface so many downloads was I would get out with a show, come out with another one, do a bunch of posts until my Instagram got hacked. But my Instagram, I would start to post and promote about 10 days before the next episode came out. And then 2 weeks later, I would do some older content and some videos and recycling that. And I did a blog post and an email campaign just to remind you, hey, if you didn't listen to this episode 2 weeks ago, here's the statistics. Here's what people are saying, because I was doing a live Q&A. And all you're doing is you're getting more eyeballs on all of your content, just in case someone has a horrible week and they get so sidetracked. They're like, oh my God, I'm like 5 episodes behind. It's okay. We're here to talk about that on a live Q&A. Here's what you missed.
Boom. Yep.
Boom.
It's a web that we can control. Now, obviously, Chris has a team. I hired my first ever virtual assistant last week, so I'm really excited about that. Like getting help. If you do feel like you are somebody that is machine gunning interviews, and that's all you feel like you're doing, start looking at virtual assistants, teams, outsourcing, things like that. Delegating to somebody, like, pass the buck along so that you can create content, but also, we should be able to nurture some of these things. Or maybe you have a team that helps you break up that content like Chris does, and then it's all over the place. Like, you probably shouldn't be the one that's in there going, okay, I got to create 7 videos for this and then send all these emails. Like, Chris isn't doing that, right?
No, it's impossible. All you're doing is you're taking time off from what you should be doing. Like, stay within your zone of genius. I know my zone of genius. I don't ever take my toenail and put it over that line for too long on what I should be doing. I mean, we've obviously have been working extremely hard on some of the tweaks and adjustments we needed to during the beta phase. And I'm grateful for all these little tweaks. And then I couldn't even say it's setback. It was like pretty much a roadblock thrown right in my face. I remember I called you that one day. It was the day that you're having a heart attack. I was like, oh, what the fuck am I doing? I was like, holy shit. I was like, I got to make these moves. And then Adam goes into the hospital, and I'm like, what the freak is going on? So here I am. That's the way I look at it. That's the universe's way of making sure that we deserve it. And we're doing it for the right reasons. I could have easily been like, man, the hell with it. I got all these other things going on. I can make money from that, mailbox money, just do different things. But I'm so passionate about this idea that it's not just a belief. It's a strong conviction, because I know it's true, because I've already tested the marketplace for it. So just take a step back in whatever you're doing and think about how much energy are you wasting on energy suckers out there and energy drainers when it comes to pertaining your business. Me interviewing guests and me having conversations, me going live like this, that I'm plugged into my source. This is what gets me more hype. It just brings me so much joy to help someone. But when I'm looking at copy and I'm trying to structure a deal and I'm using a different part of my brain where I'm going, and all those gears are turning, I don't like to live there that long. I need to do something to reset. And reset is all about me resetting on what my true purpose and my gifts are at that time, whatever that might be. For some people, they love website stuff, but we can outsource these things. And just to let you know, on a website, the next probably like 48 hours, this sucker is live and in color. So by Wednesday, I might bring on the website people to talk about it. This is pretty. This is pretty. So I'm excited for this.
Yes. Okay. We got another question from Nina here. Should we have a podcast page on our site or just a link sending them to the podcast site like Apple Podcasts? What are your thoughts, Chris?
I like your own specific page talking about podcast.
Yeah.
So if you have I've been to Nina's website and I love Nina's website. If you go to Nina's website, if you have a thing for a tab on podcasting, one thing that we're going to be doing with the new website, we're going to show you, literally giving you the blueprint on how to separate yourself from everybody else in the marketplace. You'll have featured episodes, last blog posts, some of the top ones in 2020, some of the top ones in the last like 6 weeks. You'll have different ways of being able to get more eyeballs on your content where people go to your website and they'll stay there for a while looking at all your information. Think about what websites right now. Websites right now are just a landing page for someone to go to. We want to create a home with our website for them to just sit there and consume the crap out of our phenomenal content and shine lights on the people that need it. So that's what this is all about. It's like people like Nina. She's bringing on some phenomenal guests that I've actually interviewed. Phenomenal guests. Well, how much attention are you bringing those phenomenal guests? And what are your touch points afterwards? Can they go to your website and consume the content without getting sidetracked? And that's the whole idea behind the YouTube thing. You get sidetracked on YouTube. I'll go on YouTube right now and start watching a video of Winject Studios. Next thing you know, I'm watching freaking Dr. Pimple Popper or something. I'm like, what the freak is going on with my tag words? You know what I mean? So drive the activity and drive the intention and put that in your thought process as a podcaster.
Beautiful advice. All right, Winject world. I think we're good for this episode of Money Monday. If you have any questions that you want us to cover on Money Monday, text us. All right. You want to text us with our direct community number. I'll set it up. Just text us Money Monday to 843-396-2104, 843-396-2104. Text Money Monday and then send us your question that you want us to cover about monetizing your show. You got sponsorship questions. I got something to sell type of questions, affiliate type questions, whatever they are, blast them to us. We are eager, ready, and willing to take care of that. Great show this Monday, Chris Ross. I can't wait to see what happens with the website here on Wednesday.
What?
And
what? Is this real life?
We're going to turn it loose. The podcasting education hub that we are creating is going to be unlike anything else out there. We appreciate you. And Carlum, go ahead and roll the beautiful Winject closing footage. See you, everybody.
Peace.
This podcast is part of the Winject Studios network, where podcasters come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how to apply to join the network, go to www.winject.com. That's WINJECT.com. If you're ready to make a difference through podcasting, then we're ready to see you there.